Hey guys, I'm Jenny Lapointe and I have helped a lot of people file for their unemployment. And whether you are self-employed, independent, a gig worker, or if you're an employee, if you haven't yet filed for your unemployment, but you're in need of it and you don't have a job anymore, or maybe you're furloughed or you're part-time, then you really need to make use of this. Now, I've never filed for unemployment prior to this. For me, I went on their site and looked for a guide and followed the guide. Well, then when I started helping other people apply for their unemployment and saw that it was working for them too, I decided, well, let me go on to Washington State's unemployment site and see if maybe they have a guide to follow or some slideshows. And they actually offer webinars where you can see how they're doing it. The director of unemployment, he goes over it. He answers questions at the end that are asked in the chat box. Can't specifically talk to them during the webinar, but I noticed that this isn't being put out there for everyone to access so easily. I thought I would just go through and make this first video about just filing for unemployment. This is regular unemployment. If you're an employee, this is for you. If you're self-employed, you still have to do this anyways because you have to do it and get denied before you can file for your PUA benefits, which is basically the application that you want and need when you're self-employed. Let me start by pulling up the slideshows I got my hands on from unemployment and get you guys going with how to apply and get this all done. As you can see here on my computer, that you will need to have a SAWS account. Now, if you've never filed unemployment before and you're like, what's a SAWS account? Well, see right there above the red arrow, it says, do you need an account? Well, then click on that you need an account and that you're gonna sign up. It's gonna ask for your name, your address, your social security number, a couple other details pertaining to you to confirm that you are who you are. If you file through the DOR your quarterly earnings, then you should already have a SAWS account. But if you don't, it's super easy to set up. It's common sense, really. It's super easy. And then you can come back to this page and log in with the username you created and your password. Okay, then let's keep it moving. Now, once you have signed in, this new page will pop up on your screen. As you can see in orange, that's for yourself, that's self-employed and employees. This is for you. This is where you log in to manage your dashboard for unemployment. So you're going to click apply for unemployment benefits or manage your current and past claims. This is how you always get to your home page of your unemployment dashboard. I don't know why they just don't call it home page. Okay, now if you have never filed for unemployment or anything like that, down there in the my accounts, it's going to look clean. There's going to be nothing there. So you're going to need to go over to the I want to submit an application. Okay. And then you're going to have a new window pop up and it's going to say submit an application. And you can see at the top it says percentage completed. This is just for regular unemployment benefits. Now, like I said before, if you are self-employed, you still need to do this to get denied. You know, the first thing says unemployment benefits registration application. Please read this importantly. The average time takes you 30 to 60 minutes. If our servers aren't crashing and our website isn't losing internet, if it goes away and says you don't have internet, it's not you, it's not your internet, it's literally unemployment servers not being able to handle everyone being on it at the exact same time. If you hit save, it may help you. I tried to hit save a couple times and it kicked me right out of my application and made me start over a few times. Honestly, I would just say if you're gonna do the application, take the time to do it all the way through. Don't halfway do it, save it, come back, because it probably won't be there. Okay, it's gonna hit next. And then it's gonna say that you read and certify and that you're doing this, it's true, it's legal, and a couple details you should have before you start the application, and a couple requirements. They lay it out for you. They're pretty simple. Just hit next, go on to the next page. And then right here, you're reading and that you're certifying that this is you. You are who you say you are. And if you don't complete this and finish it by that Saturday that's coming up in the week that they discard your application, just go through and do it in one swoop. Okay. Now we're actually going to get on to the application. You're going to agree and continue with the application. That's what you're going to click on. You're going to agree, continue with the application. You're going to hit next. Now right here is basically your identity. You're going to put in your social, your birthday, your name on your social security card. If your full name is Jennifer, you're not going to put Jenny, okay? So put your full legal name on there. And if you have a middle name initial on your driver's license, I would suggest you put that on there too. I've heard some people say, oh, unemployment put a flag on me because I didn't include my middle name. Include your middle name if you have to. Now it says, have you used any other names, such as a maiden name? Do you have a nickname? Are you a U.S. citizen or an American national? Answer those how they apply to you, then hit next. Then we're going to go over to your driver's license. Is it a Washington State ID? Your license ID number, the date issued and expiration. They give you the little example as you see here where that information is on your driver's license. Put that in. Keep your driver's license on you if you're self-employed because you'll have a second part to use that as well. Okay. Then here there are some following questions. As you can see in the top above each question, it kind of gives a brief summary about what each question is being asked about, the topic. Benefits in other states. Have you applied for or received unemployment benefits from a state other than Washington State in the last 12 months? If that applies to you, you have to hit yes. If it doesn't, hit no. I also want to say that you need to read these questions all the way through. I've done this so many times that I know all the questions almost, and I know that the majority of them are going to be no, except for a few. There's a few in here that you have to answer yes to, otherwise you will throw a red flag and put a pause on your unemployment benefits. And trying to get through the phones right now and trying to send a message via your dashboard is almost impossible. So be sure to read your questions all the way through. If none of these apply to you, then great. None of them applied to me. So the only question I had to answer yes to was, am I able and willing to work? And we'll get to that in just a second. And then it says injury or illness. Have you been able to work for 13 or more consecutive weeks due to an injury or illness? Have you been unable to work because of an illness or injury? Now this means that you filed for injury insurance stuff. I forget exactly what it's called, but if you're sick like with the flu, or you have COVID, or you've got a cough, or you took sick leave, this does not apply to you. You will throw a red flag in your unemployment and it will cause a huge issue. This is like if you went and filed for injury comp or whatever, what that's called. Unless you've applied for injury comp, then this does not apply to you. Say no. Federal employer, did you work for the federal government in the last 18 months? This doesn't include military service. Are you a cop? I'm pretty sure that's how federal employer would apply to you if you worked for one. Self-employed people, this ain't gonna pertain to you. You hit no. Employees, depends on who you're employed for. You work for the courthouse, it's probably gonna apply to you. FBI or something like that, probably gonna apply to you. Military jobs, did you separate from active duty military service in the last 18 months? That's basically answer yes or no. Work in other states. Have you worked in any state other than Washington in the last 18 months? Answer it yes or no. If you answer it no, Less extra questions to ask. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, now you're 30% through. Now you got to do your claim your start date. You are applying for benefits this week. So your claim your start date is April 12th. Is this the date you want your claim to start? Now let me break this down, because if you have been out of work for 2 weeks and you've just decided now to file for unemployment because you're like, it's ridiculous, I'm never going to get through, let me just wait a little bit. I got a little money stashed aside. I'll wait and then file after everyone else. You still need to use your original start date of the day that you didn't work no more. Washington State officially declared disaster on March 23rd. Okay, and we had to shelter in place and essential businesses were only allowed. So maybe that's your start date. But on March 16th, we already did a 15 or started the 15 shelter in place act that they put before we put it into a harder shelter in place with Inslee, what he did. I started self-quarantining on the 16th of March. And I officially closed my business on the 23rd. You need to go off of the date that you officially didn't work no more. If it was a Saturday, if it was a Sunday, if it was a weekday, doesn't matter which day it was, but the date you officially did not work anymore because of this, because of COVID, because of everything that's going on, that's your start date. If it's not April 12th or it's not the day's date that you are doing this, that you're signing up for your benefits on unemployment, then you need to say no. And then it will drop down another box for you to put in your date. Like right here, drop down another box for you, and you can pick your start date you want to be. And then the next question will be, you have requested to change your claim start date to said date you picked. Is this correct? Well, then you would say yes to the date you just picked. So if the start date they're listing in the question isn't your original start date, you need to hit no, you need to put in the date, and then after that you need to say yes, that's the date you want, because they're going to back pay you for those weeks that you didn't work. You'll get one big lump check. So here they are saying, yes, that's correct. That's what it looks like. Then there are some just a couple random questions they ask. One about anti-harassment. Do you currently have an anti-harassment order in place for your protection? You click yes or no, however it pertains to you. Then over here, it will ask you about your address. Is that your physical mailing address? What's the best way for them to contact you? I liked them contacting me via their little e-letter. So it came through this actual portal. I didn't want to have to wait for a physical letter to come in the mail, because I wasn't sure, well, if this gets so bad, are we still going to have post office people, are they still going to be out there delivering our mails? I just picked the e-portal, the e-letter for them to send, which is way easier and more efficient. You got to put in your address, and then you need to confirm. Be sure to confirm your address. Then do you have a physical address that is different than your mailing address? However that pertains to you, answer it. It was no for me. What is the best way to contact you if we need to talk about your claim? I put e-letter or, the portal. And then how do you want to receive important correspondence from us? I put the portal. I believe on the top one, I put phone number. And then you can put in your email, your phone number, and do they have permission to leave a detailed voicemail? I said yes, because when unemployment calls us, it will be a no ID. It will be blocked. It'll be like a block call. You'll think it's like some teleperson trying to sell you some BS. Well, it could be unemployment finally reaching out to you. Maybe they caught something in your application that threw them. Be sure to answer your phone calls. Say yes. Let them be able to leave a voicemail. Confirm your address, and go on to the next page. Here it is, confirming your address, verify the address, okay? Select the one that the postal office recognizes. That's the best route to go. And then See right there, how do you want to receive your important correspondence from us? They chose sent by US mail. I chose to be sent by e-letter in their little portal. It's quicker that way. I got all my letters that way. Then you're going to put in some personal information. Are you male, female, or do not identify, I believe is the third option. What's your main language? Is your highest level of education? What is your ethnic background? What is your race? Select all that apply. If you don't see one that applies to you, put do not want to answer. Are you a U.S. military veteran? You can say no, yes, or don't want to answer. And do you have a disability? You can say no, yes, or you don't want to answer. And go on to the next thing. Did you work for a Washington employer? Now, for everyone who is self-employed, you're going to choose no because you do not work for Washington State. You work for yourself. Now, if you're an employee, this qualifies you. So as an employee, you will hit yes. As a self-employed, gig, independent, doesn't apply to you. You hit no and you go on to the next thing. So for employees and not self-employed, then you have to search for your employer. Again, self-employed doesn't apply to you. Employees, this is you. This is your part of your application for unemployment benefits. That's important. Pay attention. So you got to search for your employer. You got to add them. You got to put in all their details. Select how you want to search for the employer. Then fill in as much as you can and hit search. You can search by their name, their address, their employer ID. You got to search over in the box and it'll pop up in the results area. And then if that's who they are, Bob's Burgers, and Bob's Burgers pops up in there, click on it and hit OK, move to the next page. And then you got to put in what date did you start working for them, what date did you last physically work for them, why did you separate from this employer, have you applied for or are you receiving retirement pay from this employer, please provide your gross income before any deductions including taxes, and how many hours a week did you work on average. So fill out all that information if you're employees applying for unemployment. Self-employed people, these boxes won't even show up for you because when it asks did you work for someone in Washington State, you hit no. Okay, then you'll fill out all those details I went over, gives you options, pick them up, then you will go on to the next. And it will ask, did you work for another Washington State employer? Maybe you're an employee who has 2 jobs or 3 jobs. This is where you can add in all those other jobs and all those other companies you work for. Then it will come to your employment wage summaries. All that hours you put in and the amounts you put in, it will all add up here, okay? And then did you disagree with wage or hour information reported by an employer? Because they're also reporting it too. You saw at the beginning, the orange and the blue login. Well, the employer also logs into this and probably reports all their employees, okay? Then to receive unemployment benefits, you must have worked 680 hours during your base year, which is October 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2019. Our records show you worked only 0 hours. If you worked the required numbers of hours from January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2019, which is your alternate base year, you still might be able to receive benefits. Do we have your permission to use your alternate base year? For those who are self-employed, this page does pop up for you. You hit no. They're not allowed to use that base year. That's a no. And for employees, if that shows 0 hours, that's a no too, because it should show your hours that you had put in and it should show the amount. If that is correct, then you would hit yes, because they're telling you, can we use these hours, because this is how we're going to pay you based off of those hours in there. Then we're going to go on to here, your occupation. You're going to put in your occupation. If you're a bartender, you put in that. If you're a realtor, you put in that. If you own a restaurant, put in restaurant. You know, that's where you search your occupation. Then it says, are you going to continue to look for work in this occupation? You must hit yes. If you do not hit yes, you will create a red flag and it will cause a problem with your benefits. You have to say you are still looking for work in your occupation. You're not a bartender who's then going to go be a construction worker, okay? Doesn't work that way on unemployment. I don't know why. I don't have the answers to it. All I know is you got to hit yes to that question. Then over here, this is going to pop up. That's the little search bar. You can search insurance claims clerk, and then it's going to show up a whole bunch of different options for that under that category. Pick the one that applies most to you. At the bottom, you can see it gives an explanation of the job responsibilities and what it includes. Pick the one that is closest to you and applies to what you do. Click on it and then hit OK. So there it is, it's put in, and like I said, they say put yes, and then you're going to hit next. Now, these are for union memberships. If you're self-employed, you're probably not in a union and have a membership. If you're an electrician or you worked out at the port and you're an employee, this will probably apply to you. Do you get your work through a union dispatch or referral list? Answer that how it applies. Have you applied for or are you receiving union retirement pay? Answer that how it applies. Most self-employed people is going to be nope and nope and next. Then you're going to be taken to this standby request. Now, since there is an order to stay home, this does not matter. You do not have to be on standby. You can answer no. You actually don't want to be on standby. For self-employed and employees, hit no. You do not want to be on standby. Then it's going to ask about school or training. Are you currently attending school or a training program? Ask it how it applies. For me, it was no. Your occupation, able and available for work. This is one of those important questions. Are you physically able to work and available for work? You must select yes. If you do not select yes, there's another red flag going up, and unemployment is going to put a pause on your application. You're not going to get benefits until they get that figured out with you. So you must hit yes. I know the common sense would be, well, yeah, I'm able to work, but I'm not available because I have to shelter at home in COVID-19 and da-da-da-da-da. I have underlying conditions. It doesn't matter. You are physically able and available for work. You're physically at home and able, sitting on the couch, and you are available for work. Doesn't mean you have to go out and work. It means that you are not in a coma on a defibrillator and can't respond. Okay, that's how the question applies. Self-employed and employees, yes, answer yes. This is one of the questions you must answer yes to. Then your federal taxes. So this is going to ask unemployment place to withhold 10% of your payment each week. Well, we all know how many problems they're having with servers and not being able to get to people and fix the problems they're having. So I don't trust them to hold my 10% for unemployment. I'll put it in a savings account and figure it out at the end of the year when I do taxes. Okay, I hit no, and I can go back in later on my homepage on my little desktop and update it to yes if I want to. Okay, but I don't trust them to be able to handle that. I just hit no, but that decision's up to you. And like I said, you can go back to your homepage and right on the side where it says I want to, you can change it. It's really easy to do. It's super simple, right out there in the forefront. That's up to you guys. Then how you want to get paid. So you can either get your unemployment check every week from them via debit card or direct deposit. If you do debit card, then it's going to show this page, and you're going to fill it out how they request, okay? And it shows all the little fees and everything else and how long it will take and all that. Me, I did direct deposit. It's free. It goes quick. Here's the direct deposit. You'll need to know your account type is a checking or savings, your routing number. Every bank has their own routing number. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all of them, they have their routing numbers, and then your account number, and then you'll have to confirm your account number. And then it says, I give the Employment Security Department permission to deposit my benefit payments into my bank or credit union account. You have to hit yes. You got to give them the permission to do so. Okay. Then it's going to finally come to a claim summary of all the stuff you just went over, everything you just filled out, all the questions and all the details. You're going to just skim over it and be like, yep, all that information's good. Yep, all the boxes are checked. Then you'll hit next, and it will come to complete your application and select submit. That's the end of it. You hit submit, your application's off, and they give you a confirmation. Now, for employees, I would suggest that confirmation number right there on the screen. Take a photo of it, take a screenshot of it, keep it, write it down, whatever. Don't lose that thing. It's probably important somehow. I don't know how, but it probably is, so keep it. Self-employed, I haven't had it arise where I needed it, but I still took a screenshot and kept it and put it in a unemployment file on my desktop just in case for some reason I needed it. Who knows? It doesn't apply to us because we're not filing for regular unemployment, but it tells you to save it and keep it for your records. So I'm saving it, keeping it for my records. Then you can hit go back right there on the bottom. You don't have to hit home. You can hit go back, goes to the same place. And then you'll be back to your little home page on your desktop. Down in the bottom left, if you're an employee, then right there, it will show you your weekly benefit amount, what you're approved for, what all the stuff will be right there. That's how you'll manage your active UI claim. And then in the middle under your alerts, you will have a UI weekly claim to file. I will give a video on that later, but that is where you will file your weekly claim so you can get paid every week. Now, I need to make this clear. They say that on Saturday after 6 p.m. you can call in and make your little weekly claim after 6 p.m. Well, I don't want to call in. I want to do it on my desktop. I wait till Saturday night, I guess Sunday morning at 1 a.m. in the morning to do this because the server keeps crashing. It won't let me in. I can't file. So I've just taken it as Saturday I can't file my claim. I'll wait till Sunday morning at 1 a.m. and that's when I file my claim every week. For each week, I have not worked at all. This is how you set up for your unemployment. Employees, again, this is all you got to do to get your unemployment up and going and getting paid. Then you just need to continue filing your weekly claim for every week you do not work. And you usually get paid the next Tuesday. If you do it Sunday morning, like 1 a.m., like I'm saying, I've noticed Sunday when I filed later, Sunday evening, I didn't get paid till Thursday at midnight. Again, Sunday morning at 1 a.m. works for me. I get paid Tuesday at midnight like clockwork. Okay, now for self-employed, down there in that bottom left where the arrow's pointing, it will say 0 and it will say you've been denied. That's what you want. You don't want regular unemployment. This doesn't apply to you anyways. The next video I'm going to do is for those of you who are self-employed and you need to get the PUA application, and it should automatically pop up in your alerts. Come watch me in my next videos. I can show all you self-employed how to access your PUA and get your weekly benefits from that and the $600 a week on top of that. Thanks for watching, you guys. Subscribe, click the little bell down below, leave comments, give me a thumbs up, let me know what you thought. And again, this is for Washington State unemployment. I'm sure other states have a little guideline for you to follow or webinar to watch how they're doing it, or it's probably pretty similar. I hope this helps you guys out and get some money in your pockets because we all really need it right now. Again, subscribe.